Happy Aloha Friday. Dr. Keanu Sai is a doctor of political science and senior lecturer at the University of Hawaii at Manoa.
He's also a retired U.S. Army captain, author, and an expert on the legal and political history of the Hawaiian Kingdom. Aloha, Dr. Sai. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, good to be here.
You have a nice long resume, a lot of stuff, a lot of life experience, which is why we always love having you on, because you are so akamai, just a wonderful resource, a repository of all of this ike. And Dr. Sai, of course, we mentioned 132 years ago, this day will live in infamy for us as Kanaka. Can you kind of summarize what happened in 1893?
Well, we start off with my great-grandparents were 13 years old at that time.
Wow.
In 1893.
So that's not very far removed from us,
No,
you know?
No, that's my tutu's parents.
Yeah.
So on January 16th, 1893, U.S. Marines were ordered to land in Honolulu by the U.S. minister. And that's what led to the illegal overthrow of the Hawaiian Kingdom government the next day, which is this day, January 17th.
Wow.
Now, what is important to note, though, is the way Queen Liliuokalani was able to navigate herself through this. She was a stateswoman, very, very good, right? So what she did was she conditionally surrendered to the United States and called upon the president to do an investigation of the U.S. ambassador, John Stevens, and the leaders of the U.S. Marines. In fact, Captain Admiral Scarrett, I believe his name was. He was the commander of the USS Boston, right? I think it's Captain Scarrett, my bad. So President Cleveland initiated an investigation in March of 1893 after he came into office. He sent James Blunt to Hawaii, a former congressman from Georgia, to be the fact finder. He was a special commissioner. And he was able to do a very thorough investigation that lasted from April 1st until July 17th. During that time, he was sending periodic reports to the Secretary of State, Walter Gresham. And Walter Gresham completed the investigation, notified the president, we're in the wrong. We have to restore the government.
Wow.
Now, President Cleveland then on December 18th delivered a message to Congress stating just that. And he had already initiated the process of restoration of the Queen. Okay. Now, what is important at this point, though, there is a distinction under international law between the country and the government. Because under international law and international relations, a government can be militarily overthrown, whether lawful or unlawful, but the state, the country, would still exist. And they call that situation occupation.
I was going to ask you that question because we hear a lot of times, some people say Hawaii was colonized by the United States, and you just mentioned that Hawaii
The word
is
occupied.
Occupied by the United States. What's the difference?
So colonization is it's an international term, right? And it means in the not 19th century, but post 17th century, right? It's when one country claims territory that doesn't belong to another country, okay? And they send their citizens there, and they effectively control it, thereby creating a colony, right? That's exactly what the British did on the west coast of the Americas, which gave rise to the 13 crown colonies.
The East Coast, yes.
And then these colonies declared their independence, got into revolution, and became their own countries. And that is a process of decolonization, right? So because the Hawaiian Kingdom was a recognized independent state, co-equal to the United States.
There was no colonization.
You can't colonize. Yeah, that's like saying France can colonize Canada tomorrow. No, because Canada is sovereign.
An established sovereign country.
Exactly.
Like very important distinctions, and we have so many more questions we want to ask you. In fact, we want to ask you if you can kind of hang out with us and stay over, because we're going to take things over to our news desk right now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Sai. Please stay with us. Right now, Talking Story with Leui Koholokula. She's got some of the stories that Island News team is working on for us today. What you got?